Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Wednesday, March 20th. We're on the European account. We have to do the Tavern Brawl, and I don't know what happened here, but it seems like we've got a bit of overlap because we have 3 daily quests and we have a challenge of friends. So let's start with that. Oh man. So this guy's preparing for a Tavern Brawl deck. So I need to jump into a Tavern Brawl deck really quickly and play with the Rogue. And if I'm going to play with this Rogue, this Tavern Brawl deck is crazy because you're going to pick 3 cards and pick 4 cards, and 1 is going to be banned, and that's kind of it. So let's see if we can find a Jade something. I've got nothing in Jade. Apparently all Jade cards are banned. Let's see. Drawing cards in this instance would be a mistake. Let's just take the gnome. Or see, last time I did one with all mechs and magnetics, and that worked relatively well. So these are my 4 cards. Backstab for 0, deal 2 damage to enemy hero, deal 3 damage to enemy hero, and summon a 2/1 bandit if you combo. And one of those cards is going to get banned, but the way it presents it to you is a little weird too in the Tavern Brawl. So you're shown 3 cards and then a 4th mystery card, and you're left questioning, like, did I pick the right thing or did I pick the wrong thing? Right, so I'm going to trade out this because I don't need 2 of those at the start. So 2 backstabs and this. And so one of these cards may get banned and then those cards would get replaced. So he's picking now which one should I ban. And so he bans the 1 mana card. So now I get to pick. Add 2 random dragons to your hand. For each enemy minion, gain 2 armor. Whenever a friendly minion takes damage, gain 1 armor. Or the hidden 4th card, we don't know. I'll get rid of this one because that's pretty obviously the one you don't want there. This is the first Tavern Brawl I think I've ever done that seems even slightly interesting. Everything else has always been just garbage. So I have 5 deal 2 damage to an undamaged minions, which will only last me so long because at a certain point you're just gonna fail miserably on that. So here, 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 and attack. Meanwhile, we do have probably enough for 1 more episode of Hearthstone here, but that's kind of it. Alright, so gain 1 attack. So what I have to do here is play this, then do this, then get rid of that, attack that, and that, and then return. So we've got a game on Steam here that's a bunch of Asian characters called Demon Club, which looks like kind of a low effort RPG game. It's not an RPG Maker game, it's 3D, but yeah, it seems like it's a pretty low effort RPG RTS thing. Early access for $6.99 in English is not supported, and it's a Chinese language game, so that's not surprising. Like,
so many options.
Okay, so I can do this one and this one, and unfortunately combo does not double activate because of that. But I can do this, 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 and that. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called Tokyo Chronos, which looks very anime, but I haven't heard any talk about it, and it's from Sekai Project, which is, I would have thought there would have been more advertisement about something called Tokyo Chronos. This might be, they're calling it an adventure simulation game. Clearly there's going to be a lot of talk, like almost all Japanese games have a lot of talk in them, but that doesn't immediately mean that this is a VR, well actually it is a VR game, but that doesn't immediately mean it's a visual novel game, which is what I was going to say, but it turns out it is a VR game.
Looking at me, looking at me.
Here we go.
The cards I picked might be so low level that I can't win at them. I need more of these guys, and if I don't draw more of these, if I just get unlucky, I'll run out of backstabs.
The blade be thirsty.
And meanwhile, he's adding all these dragons, so next turn, or the turn after next turn, he's going to be able to start playing those dragons. Is there anything I want to do here? Not really. And just now I've drawn that card, so that means I could pretty easily end up drawing more of the leopard gnomes and less of the ringleaders. So Tokyo Chronos is a VR game. I'll put it on the follow list. It's asking for $37.19 with a 7% discount. And it says Steam trading cards are coming soon. It has full Japanese audio and no English dub or Chinese dub. But it does have subtitles in Chinese and an interface and subtitles in English. So apparently you have to read Japanese interface, but it probably is easy enough to figure out in that case though. So that's probably not an issue.
You looking at me?
So I've had total board domination in this game up until this point, and he's just gaining enough armor that it doesn't matter. Like,
the icy winds of Northland will consume your souls.
So I'm gonna put Tokyo Chronos on the follow list. It can't really leave the follow list. What does this do? A random legendary minion to your hand. Yeah, I wouldn't want to give him a random legendary minion.
Here we go.
I got him down to 17, but it's gonna be hard. This is gonna be really, really hard to get him down to the rest.
The blade be thirsty.
Next we have a game on Steam called Human Sacrifice. It's another VR game. It looks like some kind of weird Shinto human sacrifice, which I don't know anything about Shinto, so I don't even know if I'm saying the right thing there. Or maybe it's Buddhist, because there's always so much or confusion between the two in my head. But it looks like kind of a Japanese horror story in VR. $7.19 discounted. Again, I'll put this on the fall list, although $7.19 is the price of a game that would have been about $4 if it wasn't in VR. 19 endings and one truth. It's probably a pretty slow experience. Short experience. Probably is pretty slow too. And it's in English, Japanese, and Korean, so wouldn't be surprised if this is a actual Korean origin game.
Here we go.
Yeah, all I can really do is this. Because I need the combo to play, and I'm out of cards at this point. So I need to, at the very least, draw another ringleader, play this, and then play the other ringleaders.
My blade be thirsty.
Human Sacrifice sounds like a name of a game that certainly could have been a controversy generator if it looked a little bit better. See, he's got it. He's got it set pretty easily. Yeah, like one turn kill. If I had Mechathune, there is an argument that could be made. But I don't know how, if I have those cards to pull off that.
Here we go.
Let's see. Timmy says, even I have a VR headset. I wouldn't recommend it. So Timmy doesn't recommend. Yeah, I would love to get like a survey or some feedback of 100 or several thousand people that have VR about how desperate they are to play games in VR, or if it's just good enough that you bought the headset and you played 4 or 5 games and enjoyed it for 6 months, and then a year down the line you're like, yeah, there's not that many games, because there really aren't that many video games compared to just video games in general that are VR compatible. So yeah, I don't know what the, like, if people are interested in desperately buying the cheapest ones. Let's just use the complete my deck feature. What does it say? A death rattle that summons that. The opponent has 2 more, gain 1 attack. This and this. That doesn't seem like that really does too much, but interesting. We'll just see if the complete my deck works with 4 cards. Like, if I had paid $400 to $600 for a VR headset, I would be kind of desperate to justify it, or I would be rolling in so much cash that maybe it doesn't matter to me. It's really a hard decision to make. Like, if somebody gave me $600 tomorrow, I'd probably buy just $600 more worth of games on Steam, or I would maybe buy the next platform if the Xbox 2 or the PlayStation 5 came out. Like, I think there's a lot more I would do with $600 or $400 even before I would buy VR and get into that. Transform all your 1-cost legendary cards in your deck into legendary minions. Give all the minions in your hand 1/1. Well, clearly get rid of that. Like, when I do a follow list cleanup, I will certainly be going through all the games that I have on the list of games that are in VR that I want to play. And I have like 2 games right now that can be played, maybe 3 or 4 that can be played in VR but also don't require VR, like Abduction, for example, can be played in VR and might be a slightly interesting experience playing in VR, but you really don't need it. Let's see. Our next story is interesting. TechRaptor has been partnered with this company, Nutaku, N-U-T-A-K-O, for a while, and they were kind of specifically promoting whenever they had a new game. Nutaku makes adult-only games. I wouldn't say that they're particularly Japanese-oriented anime games. Some of the characters in some of the games might look a little anime-ish, but in a lot of ways it's closer to just bad animation in general from a Western perspective, and they're usually pretty simplistic, pretty bad games, not really worth purchasing. But Nutaku is kind of a big player, and most recently they sold a PC that was a assumedly female breast skin over just a pre-made PC that you could have bought without the skin, and so you would then press the nipple to turn on and off the PC and have that sitting on your desk. That's embracing your inner pervert to the max, basically. But the story here and why this is more relevant, because for the most part you can say, yeah, Nutaku has another game out. They come out with another game every month or so. A couple months ago they tried to expand into their sections, because their website isn't really great about saying, hey, if I want to see guys in the game, if I want to see girls in the game, if I want to see girl on girl action in the game, if I want to see guy on guy action in the game, it's kind of hard to sort through all those, because it had been mostly heteronormative, where it's just guy on girl action, and so they're working on expanding their offerings. But that's not really the story there. That's just the backstory. The story here from TechRaptor is Nutaku's YouTube channel has been taken down without notice, and its Instagram channel has been taken down without notice. Almost certainly that means some organization somewhere, or some regressive, conservative organization has targeted them. It is possible that they put something on YouTube and Instagram not as censored as much as YouTube and not as censored as YouTube and Instagram would have wanted. That being said, taking the entire channel down without notice is extreme, and it might be an overreaction to maybe there's some anime character that looks young and they're calling that child pornography, because that's what half of the accusations that come out are, is that, oh, this anime girl is this fake fictional drawn character is not allowed. Meanwhile, they should be focusing on real people that are actually suffering or in danger. So let's scroll down here. I know. No, I'm trying to play here and do 3 different things at the same time. I'm getting flustered.
Here we go.
Yeah. So yeah, Nutaku Games on Twitter said, so at YouTube removed our entire channel. Nutaku has millions of users visiting their sites on a monthly basis, at a pretty big basis. Let me take a break and look at the chat because I know Timmy's chatting. Timmy just said VR platform games. There's some really great cross-platform games, VR platform games. Yeah, there's a few. I just don't think there's enough to justify the price, or maybe I'm just too cheap. How did I lose there? Well, I know how I lost there, because I let Hearthstone confirm it. Rogue. Let's do this right now. Give your minions rush. Let's see. Mag. That's not enough. Mag in. We're looking for magnetic rush, magnetic taunt, and magnetic microbots. That and that. This is probably going too magnetic on this. Okay, so the quote here is from Nutaku. Quote, YouTube gave us no warning that they were going to shut down our channel. We're in the process of appealing it and hoping to get our channel back up and running. In the meantime, fans can check out Twitter for news and updates at Nutaku Games. That's from the PR and marketing lead from Nutaku. The article from TechRaptor says, obviously this isn't the first time that YouTube has shut down the channel without warning. There are countless creators over the years that have had their problems with YouTube suddenly shutting them down or hamstringing their capacity to operate on the platform. I'm not sure that Nutaku's YouTube channel was ever monetized, so also there's a false argument to be said here that that it was ever getting any ads next to any of its YouTube videos. Also, I'm fairly certain all of their videos were age gated, so that that's probably another false argument that to be shot down. And they never really put anything on YouTube that wasn't censored from as long as I've been watching them, and I've been watching them for their few little teaser trailer videos they put out on YouTube every month for about 4 or 5 months. Let's see. The article goes, in addition to their issues with YouTube, a cursory search with other social media channels has shown that their Instagram page is down. We've reached out to Nutaku for comment about this. So that seems like they have been targeted by some group. These things don't just happen in a vacuum. So, slight news, maybe news people don't really care about, but news nonetheless. Real video game news is always hard to come by, and YouTube news certainly. Oh, he's playing the same ones I'm playing. Well, this is gonna be a rush to the see who can buff up faster. Slightly swing. in this story. The next story I have from GameIndustry.biz. EA, people want inclusive games with friendlier communities. Survey finds that only 7% of players say they're less likely to buy a game because of inclusive features. And 61% are concerned about toxicity. So a lot of that seems like that this is a survey, like I was talking about before. Surveys can be phrased to get the answer you want. Clearly the survey, just in the responses that's being listed here, was designed to get the responses they want. They asked, would you be less likely to buy a game if we added inclusive features? In general, not mentioning what those features are, of course, almost anyone would say, no, I'd totally still buy a game if it had inclusive features like a colorblind mode or subtitles or things like that, because that's what you're thinking about inclusive features. What EA is thinking about when they say inclusive features is that they're going to heavily moderate the chat and block and kick people who say things that EA finds offensive, and that there will be no trash talk allowed, and there'll be and it will just be this pretty bad experience, a pretty different experience from what most people who are playing things like Counter-Strike, people who are playing Tom Clancy's Siege, whatever the name of that game is, or Battlefront or Battlefield, like those are the gamer bro games, and gamer bros like the trash talk. They like that. That's part of their game. So EA is being very disingenuous. Remember, EA is coming off of, if you don't like the fact that we have a female with a robotic, basically robotic cybernetic arm in the trailer of Battlefront, on the battlefield, bashing in somebody's head with this fake arm, which are all super unrealistic, they said, well, don't buy the game. And in droves, people didn't buy Battlefront because of it being unrealistic, because that's what their audience wanted, was World War II realism, and that's not what they were offering. Instead, they were pushing a very SJW mindset, and they went woke and got broke, as the saying goes. So, in the second part of that, 61% are concerned about toxicity. Yeah, like, I'm surprised it's not 100%, because if you phrase it that way, yeah, there is always a concern about toxicity. Is it a big concern? Is it something that is worth trying to drastically change how the game plays to ensure that that doesn't happen? A certain level of toxicity is just the real world, honestly. So you can't get rid of it all. If you could, then things like Fox News and CNN would not exist. We would have gotten rid of what they call toxicity and disagreement and displeasing content a long time ago. I'm gonna spectate this guy, and hopefully he's close to being done with this game so I can challenge a friend. Otherwise, yeah. So. Alright, so we need to challenge him. Please accept, please accept, please accept. Yes! Thank goodness. We've done a lot of different things. Let's just play Shaman. All I have to do is play. So, we'll do that. Let's see if there's anything else in this game industry. Biz. He's typing in yo in the chat. You can't see it, I know, but
For Doomhammer.
There's a quote here. While backlash against efforts to be inclusive gaming can seem loud at times, it comes from a minority of players. If that's true, then why did Battlefront not sell? I mean, the truth is in the numbers. And they're trying to manipulate the numbers because they've committed to a path and they're not willing to change their mind. So, I mean, in general, though, everybody hates EA. So the truth is, long before Battlefront came out, or Battlefield came out, I think it's Battlefield. I'm talking about, yeah, Battlefield came out long before any of these stories came out about EA. EA was always still a garbage, greedy company and should be boycotted because of that. So unless EA fires most of its management, there's no good reason to do business with them. Just don't fall into the EA trap. Don't buy Battlefront or Battlefield. The good news here is, we'll get into a story later, it looks like Disney might be resurrecting Lucasfilm Games, LucasArts. If that's true, it certainly won't be the same people that were at LucasArts before, but it's something. It certainly means that there's a decent chance of having some good, probably Star Wars and probably point-and-click adventure games. It was a couple of months ago that Disney just kind of snuck all the LucasArts games onto Steam that were missing before that point. There's another quote here. There's a big opportunity to manage disruptive behavior and toxicity, as these are the areas where players think the industry has least improved. That's BS. It's BS. If anything, I think the video game industry has created a lot of the toxicity themselves against their own company, yes, but also if it weren't for the fact that Microsoft went so hard with Halo and Xbox to create the Gamer Bro community, those like first-person shooter games would have not been the way they are. They would not be esports. They would not be aggressive. They would be much closer to the nerdy adventure games that we were playing before that point. They created the audience. Sure, you have GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64, but there's not a lot of gamer rage and toxicity in playing your 4 friends on the same console in the same room. You might have a little bit of fighting, but nowhere near the amount of garbage that once it got online, once it was encouraged, so this is certainly a problem, if it is a problem of its own making, and of creating a community from nothing that is hyper aggressive. But it's the same amount of hyper aggression as a frat bro at a college, or a football player, a professional football player. This is just the same level of aggression you see in any professional field. And I don't think that it's any higher or it will get any lower. And I think EA is basically just up their own butt surrounding these ideas. Meanwhile, they're saying nothing about microtransactions they're putting in their game. They're saying nothing about the numerous games they've canceled in development, and nothing about the he now says good game, thank you. We're gonna now move over to the Asian account. So if EA wanted to fix the problems it could actually fix, EA should make better games and have better models as far as making money instead of microtransactions. But instead they would rather change the subject into a pointless topic It's so ridiculous how so many SJWs in particular always try to change the subject to a topic that cannot be fixed because there's really nothing to fix. Like women in the in video game development, it's like 30% of people that graduate with a computer science degree are female. 30% of the employees at most video game companies are female. It's like you can't give jobs to underqualified people unless that you literally want the games to be wars. And I think in a lot of times they do literally want the games to be wars, or they don't care about that as much as just trying to get higher numbers and more control. So we need to play Warlock cards, and we need to go against the Rumble Runs, the Rumble Run bosses. So let's come over here and make a Warlock deck on just Warlock cards. 5 health to your hero, another health, random demon to your hand. I could do random demon, and then I could also get 5 health. I wonder if you could play Renounced Darkness in this. Interesting. Do I have any minion here? Let's see. Is Renounced Darkness a card I could type? Let's see. Renounce. If I crafted this would be wild anyways. Okay. That would be a crazy card to play. Replace your hero power and warlock cards with another class that costs 1 less. That would totally break this. What deck is this? Whispers of the Old Gods? Is Whispers of the Old Gods? I guess it is. Look at that. Yeah, that's a shame. So... This is potentially the worst decision to make, because if they get rid of my card that summons a demon, puts a demon in my hand, then I won't be able to play any minions at all, and I might as well give up.
None can escape my fury.
Your soul shall be mine.
So I don't need this, or this. I want just a bunch of these and one of the other card. So if he gets rid of this card, if he bans this, I've lost. But I'll be playing, but I might as well play because I'll be playing Warlock cards. Alright. I'm screwed. Shuffle 10 cards from your opponent's class. Let's do this 4th one. There we go. So next we have a game on Steam called Long Sky. It looks like it's probably a fly around space game, but it seems like it's half 3D and half top down, half shoot 'em up, half 3D. Looks like a pretty cheap game though for 59 cents. It's probably Chinese,
So many
if I was to guess, with the Asian characters. Alright, give the leftmost minion in your hand. I can't really do anything, so I'm just gonna end the turn. I don't really know how to play this. We've got like 2 people that literally can't do anything. So I can just play cards and burn them, and that's it. And meanwhile, he can just hit me with his weapon, whereas I can't really do anything other than draw cards. So, yeah. Just end the turn. Gamatsu has an article here. Let's get back into the news. Where's my mouse cursor? Is it over there? Earth Defense Force Iron Rain 4th trailer. Earth Defense Force, a lesser known but long running fight giant bugs Japanese game. I'll watch this trailer. The games have never been highly polished, unfortunately. So there's a level there that probably needs some work. Nowadays they look kind of like a AA game, but you kind of wish that they were a little bit more polished. Like I can show here, the graphics look fine and kind of closer to a mobile game than a AAA game though. So yeah, I kind of wish their budget was higher. Leftmost minion.
So many possibilities.
Whenever you discard this, add 2 copies to your hand. So now he's just shuffled a bunch of cards into his hand that are useless to him. Okay. Destroy a demon. Gain 5 health. Well, that actually worked. Nice. Let's just keep on working on this. Earth Defense Force is kind of a action shooter game. This one is, at least. But I think you probably do a lot better playing something like God Hand. Unfortunately, there's not a great example of a bug fighting game out there, which is silly. There should be something out there. There should be a series that has been going on for a really long time that's moderately popular. I guess maybe the problem is I think bug collecting is a little bit more common in Japan, and Japan has some really interesting Hercules beetles that run around, whereas most people around the world just kind of hate insects and they don't even want to see them. So even in the thought of trying to do something, I'm just gonna play this. See if that terrifies the guy enough that he ends his turn next turn. Just playing all those cards. So had I had a card, that would have been like +8/+8 to a minion.
From the void I come.
Everyone has demons.
I think this deck might work. I just need to make a bit of a change. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article. Kill La Kill IF launches July 26th in North America and Europe. Free DLC characters Mako Mankanshoku and the ultimate double naked DTR has been announced. I want to know what this ultimate double a naked DTR is. Destroy a demon. Let's see. There we go. Let's see. If you're not familiar with the Kill La Kill anime, it's risque and silly in its lewdness and nudity and close to nudity costumes, but it's actually a very good story once if you can look past that. And let's see. A lot of this are just artwork that seems like you can get.
So many possibilities.
Let's hit this and hit this and play this, then end the turn. So we can show this. This is the character Mako Mankan Shoku, the sidekick of the main character. She's apparently gonna be DLC. This is gonna be a fighting game. And the ultimate double naked DTR is two of the characters from the organization Nudist Beach. But I think we can show this and it's still YouTube friendly. They're in a robot. I'm not sure this is actually shown in the anime. So, I don't think that exists. And they just made that up. Which, okay, fine, fair enough. This is a slow game and a weird game to play. 2, 4, 4. And if I had done one more damage, it would have pushed it a little bit further, but not that much. There's a trailer here. By the way, this game is rated Sero D, which I don't know the Sero system enough to know if D means 17 or older, or I think it does. But this fighting game looks like it's going to be very fast-paced. I don't know how long or interesting it would be. You might very well only want to play through the story mode once. See if I can get an explanation here of what Sero D falls down into. No, I don't think the article bothers to mention that. Okay, so on the game here, this will work if we get rid of this one, and I think if we get rid of this one. And then what I need to do is find a card here that would draw a card. And destroy a friendly minion and gain 2+2/+2. There we go. Or do we want to throw a taunt in there? Let's put a taunt in here instead. And try that. Next we have an article from Gematsu. Sega has temporarily halted a certain magical girl virtual on sales in Japan. Quote, various circumstances cited for the suspension. Usually the various circumstances are the fact that there was something that wasn't listed in the Sero rating and it needs to be edited out. The other reason that it could be right now is because there was that voice actor in Japan that tested positive for cocaine, and even though they didn't find any cocaine on him, that's enough to ruin him for the rest of his life, or in his premises. They searched his house and such, is what I understand. He might have voice acted as one of the characters in this, and so they're stopping the sale. Let's see. A certain magical Virtualon is a crossover between a certain magical index and Cyber Troopers Virtualon. It launched for the PS4 and 5 and the Vita on February 15th, 2018.
So many possibilities.
Let's see. The hero power dudes 18 summon Ragnar's the Flame Lord.
Almost out of time.
Oh, come on. Choose a friendly minion, add a golden copy to your hand. Let's get rid of this card. I think that's it. Yeah, the only thing they have said is it has not. There has been no changes in terms of the game support for the XVCD18B 18 type twin stick controller device, which is probably a mecha style of controller device. So yeah, no evidence here as to why really, but it seems to exist nonetheless. Let's go ahead and start with this. Speaking of the Yakuza spin-off game Judgment, which was the voice actor in likeness who tested positive for cocaine, the TechRaptor has an article that a new Yakuza game is confirmed through a voice actor audition site. Now, I don't know if that means for certain that the new Yakuza game is in development, but almost certainly there is. They put out this character art, so I assume you'll be voice acting for this male character, but there is also a female silhouette. So, well, actually, it's the female character that they're looking for. Interesting. So, they seem to be also kind of stretching out this to more of a contest than an actual job listing, because at the bottom it says contestants are not required to have previous experience and come from a professional agency. So that tells me they may not really care too much about this character. I mean, there's really more than a plethora of voice actors in Japan, and people who would sign up with an agency at a very young age, like 10, 11, 12 years old, to do voice acting. So the idea that you're doing a contest that participants will also receive a prize of 1 million yen in addition as an additional prize. 1 million yen is not chump change by any means. I want to actually win this time, but I'm not sure I'm actually going to accomplish that. What does this one do? Your next hero power deals 2 more damage every time. Interesting. What happened to the...
It's a party.
Why do I have so many of these freaking things?
That's not a valid target.
Next we have a game on Steam called Terrarium. Seems like this might be a game. It says it's a casual action early access game. Sounds like it might be a tower defense game or might be a real-time strategy game. It's early access. It's $14.99 with no discount. English and French are the languages it supports. This is kind of an art style I would expect from a French company. So I'll put this on the follow list and see if people like it. Alright.
Why do you call? Why do you call?
TechRaptor has an article here. Thomas Happ, developer of Axiom Verge, files suits against Badlion Publishing. This is not really much of a surprise considering the stories that came out just a couple of days ago. Yeah, it seems like Badland Games / Badland Publishing is doing a lot of shenanigans, and when I dug a little bit deeper into it, it seems pretty obvious that they had gone silent. And they pretended like they were going to pay, and then they go silent for 6 months, and they pretend like they're going to pay, and then they go silent for 6 months. Just to stretch it out and try to get away with some kind of shenanigans. But yeah, no surprise that they, if anything, they should have filed suit probably 6 months ago at least. And jumped into at least the very beginnings of filing a lawsuit, but maybe the lawyers wanted to stretch it out and make some more money off of everybody involved. That's a very possible thing. Lawyers do like to get those billable hours. Tammy's on the chat. Name confusion Terraria. Yeah, possibly. There's a lot of that. There's definitely a lot of games on Steam that are only on Steam to create name confusion. But it doesn't really work either because Steam knows what you really mean. Maybe Steam's search engine isn't quite as good as, say, Google, where it says, did you mean to type in this? But you can practically type in close enough and find a game. Only on a couple of occasions have I tried to find a game on Steam and not been able to type in the name or find it pretty quickly. The problem with Steam in particular is that it has to do in its search engine almost as good of a job as Google does, but it also has to be as good as a recommendation engine as Amazon.com feels like it is, so that if you type in something generic like I want an action fighting game, it kind of needs to show you action fighting games and in some kind of order, and figuring out what that order is always an issue.
It's a party.
They banned my one card that I wanted. That's why this is not working, come to think of it. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article, Konami 50th Anniversary Arcade Classics, Castlevania, and Contra collections have been announced for the PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. We knew there was a Castlevania collection. I'm not sure that the rumors had come out about an Arcade Classics or a Contra collection. So there's slightly new information here. The question it'll boil down to is,
Relax.
does this include an interesting collection for 50th anniversary? So the arcade collection, if I can find a breakdown here, includes Haunted Castle, Typhoon, also known as Ajax, Nemesis, also known as Gradius, Vulcan Venture, also known as Gradius 2, Life Force, also known as Salamander, Thundercross, Scramble, not Scrabble, Twin Bee, and then there are some bonus ebooks packaged into it with some art and stuff, I'm sure. So the arcade collection seems like it's mostly shooter games. So if you are into shooter games, I think you'd be happy with this list. I imagine since these are coming to PC, right? I'll probably end up buying all the collections anyways, just out of convenience sake. Alright. So now that I don't need to play Warlock cards anymore, I just need to play something that will win. So let's go back. What do I think could win pretty easily? Hunter, early game. Let's see. So we would want Scavenging Hyena. And then Echo Rush. Interesting, because then I could just play that regardless over and over again. And then Explosive Trap. People would hate that. And then this too. No, I could throw that in if I got rid of something, but I don't want to get rid of something. Come on, where's Explosive Trap when you need it? Here it is. This would be a nightmare to play against. The Castlevania Anniversary Collection includes Castlevania 1 from 1987 NES, Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse, then Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge, which was a Game Boy game, then Super Castlevania 4, which I assume is just Castlevania 4, and then it says coming soon, coming soon, coming soon, coming soon, and bonus book coming soon. This is described as the first Konami Castlevania collection. It is designed to be a completed collection around the origins of the history of the franchise, which I assume means it's going to include all of the Castlevania games. Like, that stops making a lot of sense otherwise. Like, it really would. But that may actually be the case. So Mex costs one less. If I just play a bunch of this, he'll be messed up. Otherwise, he's gonna get 1/1 charges, which don't matter to me. There are other minions. I'm gonna get rid of that. So the question is, what would the price be to get all of the Konami Castlevania games? Because Konami is going to try and screw you, almost certainly. So I guess you kind of take that from all of this is that each of these Konami collections are probably going to try and be way more expensive than they're worth for their 50th anniversary, and this, in a lot of ways, is kind of a wrap-up of Konami as far as being a video game developer. But there's so many side Konami games and spin-offs for mobile that aren't listed here. For Castlevania, I have no idea. So they're giving us a little bit of details, but not a lot. And there's no real release date for the Castlevania. It says early summer 2019 digital only for whereas the Arcade Classics comes out April 18th and it will be $19.99 digital only. In a lot of ways, I might end up on Steam buying the same game multiple times too, so that might be an issue to keep an eye out for. The Contra Anniversary Collection is coming out early summer 2019, digital only. And Contra, again, a shooter series. It includes the Contra from 1987 in arcade, then Super Contra, then Super C, which was the NES version of Super Contra and slightly different, but I'm not particularly sure it's significantly different. Let's see what they want to do with that. Then it is Contra 3, the Alien Wars from 1992 for the Super NES. Then it says coming soon, coming soon, coming soon, coming soon, and the bonus book is coming soon. So both of these have 4 games they have yet to announce, so they want to string out this announcement for not really a good reason. Let's see. But these are big bundles. At least they have the opportunity to be big bundles, certainly. Arcade classic games, all the early Castlevania games, all the early Contra games. Certainly they have sold some of these for probably what's too much money. Let's see here. We'll play with this. Again, I think it's worth pointing out that I think Google Stadia did a lot to suck a lot of the oxygen out of the room as far as games that came out. So there's a decent chance that I missed some games, but probably not enough that it matters. Like, I'm on the What's on Steam, their specific Twitter feed. Let's see. And let's do this, and then do this, and do this, and then do this. No, actually, it seems like What's on Steam really did have a 3-hour period in which no games were released, and then another 3-hour period in which no games were released, so maybe just no games were released on Steam, or during CDC. That kind of makes sense. All right, 1, 2, 3, and here and there, and end the turn. Next we have a game on Steam called Heathen's Engineer Terran. I suppose that's Terran or Terrain. I don't know how you pronounce that. It looks like a sort of ugly space game. 4X game. Let's see what they want for it. They want $33.99. These are the kind of games, these 4X games, that I really hate. Space games. It's like, I really wouldn't want to ever spend that amount of time on this. So, I'm not going to put this on the fall list because I just know myself enough to know I would not even give it a fair chance. Like, this might be good for all I know, but just, I don't think so. Alright. So, what went wrong that time? I think this is a mistake. I think it's pretty obvious they banned that one too easily. What if we did something like that? And try that. Next we have a game on Steam called Mortadello and a Philemon La Banda del Corvo. I believe this is a publisher that is publishing these point-and-click adventures, but I like the art style on them. Unfortunately, this one's not in English. I think the previous one was, though, and this is actually the third game in a series. Yeah. So the other one that we saw earlier is in English, but it's by default in Spanish, so yeah, it's a weird position to be into where the sequel or spin-off game is not. In the end, I guess that means I can't do too much with this game. Just maybe put it on the follow list and hope it adds English support, but I don't know why I should believe or even bother to put something on the follow list.
Quickly.
Let's see, magnetic, late game. Let's get rid of that. Yeah, I can't put a game that doesn't support English on the fall list. If it comes back and updates it, maybe I'll find it at some point, but I almost certainly never would find it. Okay, well, I think I'm in a good position here. Like, depending on the cards I saw he had, I don't think there's too much he can do. Just, we're gonna wait till later in the game to play this and at least one of these, so 5th turn minimum. Ideally, maybe even more. Gematsu has an article. World End Syndrome is launching in North America on May 2nd. Here we can show a screenshot here of this character. I believe World End Syndrome is not the visual novel Our World Has Ended. I keep getting the two confused. It's a romantic mystery visual novel by Arc System Works and Toybox. And we pretty much leave it at that. Might be good, might be bad. We will see, I guess, at some point when it comes out. But it's still very nice to see Japanese games coming to the West, even if most Japanese games are visual novels. Okay. Alright, now you're screwed.
Job's done.
Because if they kill one of these, the other one gets powered up. So unless he can do something. I guess maybe he can do something. He did all the damage at the same time. Ah, nice move. That's a well played. But not played well enough. And Gematsu has another article. Alternate Jake Hunter. Daedalus, The Awakening of Golden Jazz is coming to the West May 16th, digital only release. I think we already talked about this game. It's a visual novel somewhat around music, I assume. I'm making that assumption. I probably should look at the description. It's a mystery adventure game, that's what it says. Alright. If we do this, and then we do this, and 1, 2, 3, 5 dead. One, 2. You know what? I'll just do that, and that'll work even better. Because then when I unleash the hounds next time, I have one more thing to talk about.
What is my purpose? What is my purpose? What is my purpose?
Oh, thank you.
I assume he's thanking me because he knows I've won. Thank goodness, because I was getting a little afraid we were going to end up having to do the Tavern Brawl all night. Pack opening. Hearthstone says that they're going to be doing a card reveal on their live stream on the 25th, which gives me confidence that I probably will not be able to look at all the cards through the Hearthstone application before the 25th. So we could take that with some certainty and be happy that the expansion is not coming out this week. The 25th, if today is Wednesday and it's the 20th, the 25th would be Tuesday, and that to me seems very likely to be the time that they will update the game and let us actually look at all the cards. So I may still do a special stream on Tuesday, but I don't really have to worry about focusing on seeing if I need to do a stream on any other day. So we now need to just do Rumble Run bosses under the solo adventure. Rumble Run. I'm actually surprised that. Okay, so we'll choose our starting shrine. I like this one. After here it takes damage, deal 5 damage to the enemy hero. And we'll play this. Gamma Sutra has an article. Games for Change debuts a new accelerator program for, quote, social impact games. Basically means that Games for Change, the non-profit based in New York, will be giving money to certain game developers making certain games that have social impact. Usually the games that have social impact are not fun and barely video games and not really interesting to talk about. You really can't have two masters when developing a creative work or art. So if your decision here is to make a social impact experience, it's probably not going to be an entertaining game, because to make an entertaining game is so difficult and so rare. You have to put 100% of your focus in on that completely.
Reporting for duty. You got nothing.
Let's see, there's not really anything else to say about that article. Almost certainly we won't be seeing any games from that fund anytime soon, or frankly any of those games being particularly interesting. That's one. Let's see. So we're looking for things that will either heal us in the long run or hurt us in the long run, because we kind of need to do both. Gamasutra has an article. Update: Lucasfilm Games job posting apparently not linked studio revival. A Disney spokesman has reached out to inform Gamasutra that the below job posting does not indicate a revival of the Lucasfilm Games brand. I don't know why it would be called Lucasfilm Games brand. Was that the old name or the new name? Because they changed it. It used to just be called LucasArts, but apparently offer a segment of the parks, experience, and products business that coincidentally shares the name of the LucasArts precursor, which I assume you would do that because you already acquired the copyright of Lucasfilms, and you might as well use that as a copyright name for something to maintain the copyright. Or that spokesman is completely lying, which is also a possibility, and this is a revival. But if you're going to straight out and deny it, then you've hurt your credibility. But Disney's credibility is pretty much in the garbage anyways. They have enough money that they don't need credibility. The representative sought to make clear that Disney is continuing its licensed game strategy with partners like EA and Netmarble.
The first wish is free.
And I imagine that is very much true. Like, it would be crazy for Disney to try to get back into the video game field after they just shut down like Disney Infinity and fired all of their all the people who could have potentially run a video game division. I should have attacked first. But this still worked. Let's see. The article continues, and I guess original story follows. As spotted by PC Games In, they're back. I wonder if PC Games In might be a little untrustworthy as a source, though. That might be something to consider. Too many video game journalists seem to be more than willing to quote sources without really vetting them. Just because somebody has a website doesn't mean they're trustworthy. But yeah, it says a number of new job listings for various roles at Lucasfilm Games have appeared on Disney's website. The next paragraph starts: Disney shut down all internal development at LucasArts which operated under the Lucasfilm Games banner back in the 90s, in April 2013, canceling a number of new titles, including 2 Star Wars games, and laying off a reported 150 employees. And it's that 150 employees that's most important to focus on. Is even if there was a new video game division in Disney, it's not that 150 people. In fact, long ago, the people that made the good LucasArts games have moved over to things like Double Fine and other companies. Double Fine, I think, has probably the most prominent number of people. Telltale may have had some of them too, and that really doesn't mean say a lot positive when Telltale's out of business too. Speaking of Telltale, the final 4th section of The Walking Dead is out, or coming out, and it pretty much confirms it's only going to have 4 sections instead of 5. That's not the biggest issue, of course, because it is also an Epic Games Store exclusive, so that is also a concern. Let's see. Let's do this and this. And attack here.
Your shrine is sticky.
TechRaptor has an article. Epic Games Store Quantic Dreams games are coming to PC. Now, I think I may have heard of a rumor that Quantic Dreams games might be coming to PC, but this is not the way I wanted that to happen, certainly. So, the previous PlayStation exclusives like Heavy Rain and Beyond Two Souls potentially are now coming to the Epic Store, along with Detroit Become Human. Let's see. Whenever this minion takes damage, your hero takes it instead. Interesting. So that's 3 games now. Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human. The PC launch of these games have no release date, and also you've waited this long, so why not wait a little longer, wait a year and wait for it to come to Steam. Taunt, battle cry, deal 6 damage to this minion. Just in return here. Yep. In fact, the next article is from Gematsu. The Walking Dead, the Telltale series, the final season, episode 4, launches March 26th. And I still hope it's good, so a year from now when I get it on Steam, so I have all the Telltale games in one place, and all the Walking Dead games in particular in one place, that it's good. Okay. Charge lifesteal. Oh, rush lifesteal card. So.
Reporting for duty. The battle.
I'm just hoping this works. If this doesn't, I'm gonna die. This should work though. TechRaptor has an article, State of Unreal, Epic Game reveals its new physics engine. So, Epic Games has they've announced a new physics engine, not to be confused with the other article where the Unreal, no, the Unity engine is partnering with Havoc to fix that. Okay, so every time this hero takes damage, so let's take the minimum amount of damage here and kill this guy. And then play this, and all we needed to do is hit this guy once. Or hit this guy once. And it seriously failed to do that. I lost. Like, that was such a gamble. If it had hit this once, this would have done 5 damage and I would have won. If it had hit this once, this would have done 5 damage and I would have won. I played possibly out of order because I played this first. If I had not played this first, that would have changed the odds slightly in my favor. Yeah, so I screwed that up. Now I'm going to be punished unless it does something just crazy and ties. And I guess it did tie. So that still counts as a defeat, but does that mean I have to start where I was? No. When you tie, you can play again, but that didn't count as victory, so that changes that. So the new Unreal Engine physics engine is called the Chaos Physics Engine. It'll ship in early access on April 23rd. I don't see a reason why physics engines should be in early access, but maybe that is helpful for devs. Why call it early access though? Why not call it beta? Physics engines, I don't know if they really need too much more improvement. Frankly, I guess they always need a little bit more tweaking, a little bit smoother, less better code, but there is certainly a level of this where you're just kind of polishing something that's already pretty perfect. Ray tracing, on the other hand, compared to a new physics engine, like ray tracing is a whole new concept for showing how graphics are depicted in video games. But unless it's something like Hairworks, or hair is now going to look way better, or Clothworks, or cloth flapping in the breeze is going to look a lot better, the physics engines being improved are helpful, but don't really change anything. And this article doesn't really say anything. It does seem like it says that the demo they released was showing a demo called Robo Chaos using 2 Vive controllers without wearing the actual VR headset, which seems like it's interesting, but it's just like building destruction. This is a screenshot I'm saying. So this is good news for Unreal Engine games, but I don't think you'll see many games translated or upgraded to the new engine, or that there will be a big difference. There kind of was a big difference to migrate from Unreal Engine 3 to Unreal Engine 4, and I know some of the games specifically went out of their way to do that, and it made the game run a little bit smoother. Particularly the finishing of Ethan Carter came out and just released the exact same game like a year later on the new engine, and it made it run a little bit smoother and it look a little bit better. But it wasn't any significant difference. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. Epic Store says Outer Worlds and Ancestors of Humankind Odyssey are coming to the Epic Store. I believe these are exclusives too. In addition, several other titles such as Dauntless and The Cycle, Epic Games announced 2 more Epic Store exclusives, Outer Worlds and Ancestors, The Humankind Odyssey. So one game is called Outer Worlds, and the other one is called Ancestors, The Humankind Odyssey. All of this is CDC announcements, so there's not very much information right now. Let's go ahead and kill this.
Got nothing.
As you desire.
So yeah, Epic is still getting exclusives for their storefront. No real surprise there. We already talked about that story. We don't need to talk about it again. TechRaptor has another story. The Epic Game Store, Humble partners with the Epic Game Store. Humble Bundle has made a partnership with the Epic Game Store to allow Epic Store games to be made available on the Humble Store as well as in the Humble Bundle. Does that mean that Humble Bundle is by default going to stop giving you Steam keys in favor of the
As you desire.
Epic Store? No, not really.
You got nothing.
Alright, I'm gonna hit this. Alright, so my hope is that this hits this a lot. It has to hit this 3 times. 1, 2. Oh, I guess it didn't really have to hit it 2 times, just 2 times. There we go. During the announcement, Epic wanted to make it very clear that they wanted the Epic Store to not be a walled garden which prevented developers from selling their keys on other platforms. There's really only a few places where that is the case, and Steam is not one of them. And that's not exactly true either, because Epic Store exclusives still can't get third-party keys. Just the other games that aren't exclusive to Epic Store can get keys. So you might see on the Humble Bundles a twist where you stop getting Steam keys and you start getting Epic Store keys. And if that goes that way, then I'm going to have to think really hard about buying any more Epic bundles. Let's see. There's nothing else here. Other than TechRaptor has reached out to the Humble for more details about the partnership with Epic. So we'll just have to see what the first bundle looks like in that case. Even if there was a Humble Bundle that gave you all of the exclusives, not really sure I would want to do that. I'm gonna try to play a little Paladin here and see if we can get the Asian account up in rank as we're trying to wrap up here. And I don't have any more daily quests, but I have a lot more news, than I thought I did. But maybe I can burn through it. GameIndustry.biz apparently is updating its website or something because it looks completely different now. They have a job listing here, senior game designer for can't even tell what company it is because they moved everything around. It's for E1 6pix UK and Europe is the location. It's for Memrise, M-E-M-R-I-S-E. It's an award-winning language learning system. So it's not really video game, straight video game designer. It's a make games that teach languages. Moving on, GameIndustry.biz is got a listing here. Cuphead will bring Xbox Live to Switch. Microsoft plans to add features from its online service to Nintendo's platform with a post-launch update to Studio MDHR's game. Did Microsoft buy Cuphead's company? Yeah, I don't think Microsoft owns Studio MDHR. So Microsoft is just doing it not completely out of the kindness of their hearts, but out of a desire to gain market and branding influence. Like, Microsoft would be very happy if every Switch owner, every little kid who has yet or may never have planned to buy a Microsoft console or Microsoft game starts having the desire to buy those kind of games. Let's see, one. Two. And three. Great.
The battle.
Repent.
Summon 3 toads with taunt. Overload 3. There's a article here from EdSurge, EdSurge. Can a neuroscience video game treat ADHD? I'm not really gonna get into this article because it's an actual article, unlike video game articles that that means it actually has at least 200 words in it. It's kind of cool. I guess we could show the pictures here and show off the kind of games they're talking about while scanning the brains of children with ADHD. I assume it's children with ADHD. I imagine immediate feedback through brain scanning does probably open the door to several things. Let's hit that one. Do I want to kill this guy?
Repent.
Nah, let's just hit that one. I could have summoned some sparks with Rush and overloaded.
Repent. There we go. So here they have a single task game where you're supposed to keep your eyes on the car, driving only, or the sign, and then here they have a multitask, sign and drive, so you have to keep an eye on both of them so not really that interesting. And then here you have something that's a little bit better animated, where you're rafting down a river, it looks like, probably through focusing your mind. Transform your minions into legendary random minions. Two Murlocs from your deck. Can I really not do anything else? Alright.
just end the turn there. So yeah, that's like a medical article though, and medical breakthroughs come out all the time, and they're often 10 years off from ever being actually practical. Already talked about that story, so we can close that. TechRaptor has an article here, State of Unreal, Blade and Soul Revolution. It pushes mobile technology further, apparently, using Unreal Engine 4. This is... that looks pretty good for a mobile game, I have to admit, but this also could be just a stationary thumbnail, and the game itself may not look that good. I guess I'd have to go see if I can download Blade and Soul Revolution to see how good that game is, actually. Freeze a minion and deal 3 damage to adjacent ones.
Job done.
Gematsu has an article, survival horror game Darkwood coming to the Switch in May. Let's see if there's anything. This is Darkwood's thumbnail, I guess. Is there an actual release day? Darkwood was first launched on PC in August of 2017. I wouldn't be surprised if I overlooked it. It does have a Steam page, so we could get some more information from that. So let's click on the Steam page and see how well received it was. This and this and this and end the turn. So Darkwood on Steam here is rated very positively. It looks like it's just a top-down like horror game, but maybe it has some elements there that make it better than what it looks like. So I'm gonna have to double check to make sure this is on the follow list. I'm not sure I'm ready to put it on the wish list, but clearly it's good enough for them to think that it will sell on the Switch. It's kind of odd to be selling a horror game on the Switch in the first place.
Try this.
Freeze and deal 2 damage. Do this.
Reporting for duty.
Return to your hand. In the turn. Next article we have GameIndustry.biz. Epic Game Store lineup expands with Private Division, more Ubisoft titles, and Quantic Dream exclusives. So this is kind of a roundup of all the games that the Epic Game Store is trying to build its storefront out. No big, huge surprises so far. Metro Exodus still kind of the big story. If I do this, I really can't do anything else. So the hope is that would do something, and then that would do something. And that's probably not enough to save the day, but whatever. Gematsu has an article, roguelite resource management narrative game The Red Lantern has been announced for Switch. I vaguely recall a game called The Red Lantern, but let's see. No, actually I'm wrong. This is one of the indies, Nintendo indies, and even the video doesn't want to play. Alright. So reload the page and see if it plays this time. Nope. So I have nothing about this game, the Red Lantern, to say. It says navigate the Alaskan bush to find your way home. So the rest of these news sources might just be talking about the Nintendo indies and not so much about GDC, which sucked a lot of the air out of the room. Google's Stadia. One thing that immediately announced became kind of questionable about Google's streaming service is how in the world are IT people going to block that? Because that's going to drive people at work to not do their job, and it's going to just cause such a hassle. Like, people are going to be getting fired left and right for playing games at work when they should be working, or playing games at school. Like, I can kill this. There's kind of no reason to. Game Researcher has an article. Epic expands its dev grants program with $100 million in Epic Mega Grants. This is grants to people who want to make games using the Epic Unreal Engine. Small game developers, I think, for the most part. That's really more of a story of just how much money Fortnite is bringing in, that they can spend $100 million to just get more people to use the Unreal Engine, that they can then make profit off of the royalty you have to pay to use the Unreal Engine at a certain point. It's kind of free for a small people that don't expect a lot of sales, but it's not free for big developers or medium developers. Ooh. We could kill some things here. I don't see a real reason to do that.
Reporting for duty.
The light protects me.
Like, if I swapped the health, I would be able to kill this guy, kill this one, kill this one. It doesn't probably matter too much, though. So leave this where it is. TechRaptor has an article. Nintendo Direct Stranger 3 the game. Stranger Things 3 the game. So Netflix also has a trailer out for Stranger Things 3, the Netflix season 3. So it's weird that they're calling it Stranger Things 3 the game. It's clearly not going to be a AAA hyper-realistic game, though. It's going to just be an 80s retro-style adventure game. I wouldn't be surprised if the game is not that good. But I bet a bunch of people will buy it anyways. And since this is part of the Nintendo Direct, then it's probably coming out to the Switch. Maybe it's coming to other things. The release is on July 4th, 2019, the same day as the TV series comes out. Which seems like that's probably bad timing. Why not release the game a week before? It can't possibly really spoil the game that much. I would need something capable of attacking. So let's do a taunt first. And I'll take this. And well, if we do this
Reporting for
and then
duty.
do this.
Wolves stand ready for justice. Job done.
Next we have a Gamatsu article. NeoCab is coming to the Switch in 2019. We've already heard a lot about NeoCab. It's not out yet though, so it was previously announced for PC, Mac, and Linux, and now it's coming to the Switch. NeoCab, maybe a good game, maybe not. It's really up in the if category because a lot of it is kind of
Come.
gonna fall down to the story because there really isn't any gameplay from what I can tell. Here's another screenshot from Gamatsu of Stranger Things 3, the game. Looks like there's a trailer here I can watch too. You gotta be careful with Nintendo in particular, they suck. Alright, so I'm gonna do this, and now I can't do this. I didn't have enough, so I screwed up.
Reporting for duty.
I screwed that up.
Reporting for duty. For justice.
Skip through the Stranger Things trailer. Yeah, it looks like it's kind of a beat 'em up twin stick shooter. Well, not so much even a twin stick shooter, because there isn't shooter. It's a beat 'em up co-op looking adventure game. Kind of reminds me of the Simpsons video game, but not really. It doesn't play like that. It's just like that's probably the closest TV show tie-in that I've seen in a long time. Alright. All other minions,
The battle.
prepare
The battle.
to die.
The battle. Reporting for duty. My hand is full.
Bandai Namco has this game called Rad that I think is also a Nintendo indie that's doing a closed beta, but maybe it's not even a Nintendo indie. I can't really tell anything about it though. The website just wants you to sign up for the closed beta without really knowing anything. It's in partnership with Double Fine, so you'd almost think that it would be a point-and-click adventure, but it isn't. And the idea that Double Fine has time to release another game while they're still working on Psychonauts 2 is questionable. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called Crossroads Roguelike Dungeon Crawler, which seems like it's a pretty low effort game. It doesn't seem like it really is a dungeon crawler at all. It seems more like it's maybe a match game or something, some kind of clicker. Yeah. $4.99, no discount. There's a lot of SEO here. Roguelike RPG dungeon crawler Crossroads probably has some SEO too in it. At this point I'm gonna stop looking at games on Steam and leave those for Friday. Let's see.
To battle.
We can kill that guy and basically do nothing else. That,
Reporting for duty.
play that, give them all Divine Shield. TechRaptor has a article called "How Poly/Slash Approached We the Revolution's Gameplay" here, and apparently this is We the Revolution. I don't know this game though. I'm not even sure this game is out yet. Seems like it's a courtroom drama sort of game, not all. Let's see. See if I can even find out if it is out or where it is. Yeah, there's nothing in this TechRaptor article even talking about where it is. So I have to assume this is just a hype article, and the game looks slightly interesting, but that's about it. Next we have a Gematsu article here. Blaster Master 02 announced for the Switch, available now. Blaster Master, apparently a Nintendo indie sequel to the 2017 release side-scrolling top-down hybrid action game. It's $9.99 at the eStore. There's a video here that makes it look like it's probably not as interesting as the thumbnail would make it seem. I'll watch this. Nintendo doing their Nintendo Indies right in the middle of CDC was an unkind move. Certainly. Yeah, it looks like it's an 8-bit platformer that has an overworld that goes to like a 16-bit overworld, or switches around several different ways. Since these games are not on PC, I guess it really doesn't matter. It sure feels like a game called Blaster Master would have been something that was made in the 80s, and there was a game called Master Blaster, and I guess that's what I'm confusing it with. That's like maybe from the 70s, actually. A lot of these articles might be redundant, so we might be in a good position at this point. TechRaptor has an article here. Nindy Spring Showcase, Cadence of Hyrule announced for spring of 2019. This is a Crypt of the Necrodancer tie-in using Legend of Zelda assets here. So here's the character from Crypt of the Necrodancer, and here's Link and Zelda. I'm not sure that there's a real video here to see, unfortunately. I'd like to see kind of how that plays. Oh, there was a video in this, so I'll watch the trailer. Crypt of the Necrodancer in particular has been a style of game that I've kind of avoided because I have no rhythm. So even if this wasn't a Nintendo exclusive, which it almost certainly is because it has Zelda in it, it probably is a game I wouldn't be able to play too well. And it seems like you're probably going to be playing as the Crypt of the Necrodancer character first, and you'll have to, I heavily suspect, unlock Link and Zelda, and that they're going to play pretty differently. This might be a good introductory level, though, for somebody like me who's afraid of playing those games because they have no rhythm. It might be super easy. It might be the kid-friendly or the bad rhythm-friendly game. Cadence of Hyrule is set to launch in the spring of this year. See if there's anything else to say. I would say the Cadence of Hyrule has more of an overworld feel to it, where most of the Crypt of the Necrodancer has a crypt feel because it's in a crypt, it's underground.
So it's a little bit more colorful and bright. TechRaptor has another article. Nindy Spring Showcase, explore the open world in Pine August, which Pine August looks like it's going to be an adventure. You play as a human hero named Hugh in a third-person open-world action-adventure game with 5 different factions of human-like animals such as foxes, mooses, crocodile creatures. There's a video here. I'll take a look at it and see if there's anything else to really say there.
For me!
There's a comparison to Breath of the Wild because it would be an open world adventure game in a fantasy world, and yeah, it looks like it's graphically on the same level as Breath of the Wild, although arguably there's a lot more trees in this game, so it's not rendering as far as Breath of the Wild might be rendering. But yeah, what this game has to do, whereas other games don't have to do, the Zelda games don't have to do this, is you have to establish this whole universe for the first time, whereas there have been decades of development in the Hyrule universe. This kind of looks like that Star Fox game that wasn't supposed to be a Star Fox game, like Star Fox Crystal Chronicles or Crystal Adventures or something, and they just crammed Star Fox into it, and it made no sense because it was an adventure game, and all the other Star Fox games have been flying around games. It also looks to me, in all fairness, to be a soft kind of furry game. A lot of anthropomorphic human-like animals there. It's so I wouldn't be surprised if they're trying to attract some of that audience. All right, I've got to get this down in odds. So 50-50 shot to hit this guy. Missed. Darn. So yeah, I'll have to get more details to see if Pine is an interesting game. It could be also really short, even though it isn't. Even if it is a open world game. Wandering monster. And explosion trap. Taunt, life store, death rattle. I can't play this. I could do this, and I think I can kill this. So that's my hope.
The eternal hunt has begun.
So I want Beast to have charge, and just a 1/1 to keep it cheap.
An easy
Check
target.
out there's another article. Indie's Spring Showcase Double Fine announces RAD for the Nintendo Switch. Let's see. What is it? Creators of the game Stacking and Costume Quest and several other games. Rad pits players in the hyper-cool shoes of a classic action hero competing with bandana, baseball bat, and bringing neon accessories. That's not really a description. There's a video here. Let me see if that gives me any more information. Okay. This... do that. through this trailer. So you're in some kind of post-apocalyptic world. You're in a slightly isometric top-down area. You seem to be fighting a bunch of mutant creatures, or you mutate yourself. It seems like you mutate yourself a lot. So maybe it's rad as in radiation. Yeah, but the trailer's really not showing me anything other than you just walk around and you attack things. And since they're saying it's a closed beta, I really have to wonder if it's going to be player versus player and have no real story. There you go. Gematsu has an article. Katakana Zero launches for the Switch PC and PC on April 18th. Katakana Zero is being published by Devolver Digital. I believe this is a ninja kind of game. Let's see. There's a neo-noir action platformer featuring breakneck action instant death combat, slash, dash, and manipulate time to unravel the past in a beautifully brutal acrobatic display. So yeah, it's kind of a ninja hack and slash thing. Cheap and cheap. Hit this.
Job's done.
It's rated M for mature according to the trailer, and yeah, it looks a little 8-bit platforming, hack and slashy, side scrolling. Yeah, it's more 2D than even 2.5D. There might be skill in this that makes this kind of worth playing. So I can't immediately wave it off as a bad game. But if it doesn't play well, it is definitely a bad game. So it's going to have really tight controls to work. TechRaptor has an article. Indies Spring Showcase, Nintendo debuts Creature in the Well, which I'm about to win here. So here's the screenshot of Creature in the Well. Let's see. A new game, Creature in the Well, cross between pinball and action, it says. Interesting. I'll have to see how that plays, because I don't. Almost any time you see something as a cross between pinball and something else, the something else is ridiculous, and it makes it a horrible experience. Did I have something here that could have won the game? Not really, because I couldn't have played anything. Right, so I could attack this, take 5 damage. Kind of do that for no reason. Alright. I thought that was going to kill it, but it clearly didn't. Let's see what this video looks like. So it's a top-down, kind of at an angle view, and it seems like you reach certain platforms and certain enemies where you're just shooting out shots in a pinball bouncy kind of Arkanoid gameplay. I would say it's closer to Arkanoid than pinball, other than the fact that there's a bunch of bumpers and bouncing elements that clearly are intentionally added. It might be an interesting idea. I don't know. Like, we'll just have to see how well it's received. Timmy on the chat says, sorry, gotta go, see you on the next stream. Okay, thanks for watching, thanks for chatting. I'm just trying to wrap up here, and I think there's enough for one more game. Although I don't know if I'm really winning. It's not really, I don't even have really enough time to get into a win streak to move up. Yeah, TechRaptor has an article. Indie Spring Showcase. Play an Iditarod Musher in the Red Lantern. So here's a video of the Red Lantern. Maybe I can get a little bit more information. The way embedded tweets with videos work are strange on TechRaptor. It's almost like just a first-person adventure game, like Gone Home, from best I can tell. Like everything is very close to your face and very obvious. That close experience. I'm gonna play this, but probably make a mistake by playing this. Yeah, I think everything I just saw in the screenshot is very possibly not not anything after the prelude of the game. Gematsu has the same article about Rad. It's apparently coming out for the PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. But they just have the same trailer. I think we've mentioned it several times, but Gematsu has an article. Cuphead is coming to the Switch on April 18th. A free update is due out on all platforms at the same day. I believe this is the free update that will be adding the third character. Otherwise it's a different free update, I suppose. But that will happen. I don't think that's an exclusive to the Switch. You can play, the free update allows you to play as Mugman in single player, and new fully animated cutscenes, never before seen art and fight intros, 10 additional languages, and a plethora of bug fixes and plenty of secrets for the players to discover. So it's not the extra character. Interesting. Unless Cuphead is significantly easier on Switch, I don't see any reason why you'd really want to play it on Switch. That seems like that is probably the worst choice of places you'd want to play it. And the trailer video announcement teaser video for Cuphead on the Switch is insane too, so not really worth looking out, but looking for it, but it's crazy nonetheless. TechRaptor has an article. Oculus Rift S revealed with improved resolution and head strap. So I don't think the price for the Oculus Rift S is going to be any better, unfortunately. So it's still probably going to be $400 or $500. They are working on a medium ground on price for VR. Yeah, it says the Oculus Rift S will be released at some point in the spring of 2019 and will be priced at $399, which is really, really expensive when you also have to have at least $1,000 computer to run it. Let's see.
Unleash me.
Gamma Sutra has an article. quote, care more about your streamers, end quote, advises the Magic the Gathering Arena dev. I think for collectible card games in particular, that is true. You really have to kowtow to the streamers and treat them like they are God. Because they are bringing in the new players. They are bringing in the community that you really, really need to have in a collectible card game. More than you need to have it in any other product. Let's see.
Someone call for the doctor. It's playtime.
Do this. It probably does not matter anything I'm doing right now. Yeah. Yeah, literally no card I could play matters because, look, I kill this guy. These two can kill this, and then these two can win the game. If I had played this, maybe I would have gotten a little bit of health, but then that wouldn't have helped either.
Unity, precision,
GameIndustry.biz has an article. Snapchat to unveil a gaming platform next month, according to this report. Snapchat partner subject expected to see the debut of, quote, Project Cognac with games designed to work within the Snapchat app. Clearly these would be like small time games. You're not going to see people playing AAA first person shooters in Snapchat, but there very possibly is a chance there that there's an audience at Snapchat that can't be reached through Steam, can't be reached through other sources. Moving on, I'm just going to finish up the news because there's only a few more things. We have Gametsu, Dragon Ball Fighter Z DLC character Kid Goku from GT screenshots. If you don't know Dragon Ball GT, you might be happier with Kid Goku than if you do know Kid Goku GT, because GT is, as my understanding goes, the no longer canon, unliked Dragon Ball sequel of series, Dragon Ball Z sequel series. But in the fighting game Dragon Ball Fighter Z, it totally makes sense that all of these would be available. Like you really would want all the skins as possible. GameIndustry.biz has an article here. Kickstarter employees launch a unionization effort. Kickstarter United pursuing improved inclusivity and transparency on all at the crowdfunding platform. Whatever. I mean, it's really hard to unionize in the United States, and I don't see a reason why this would particularly succeed, because you could shut down Kickstarter tomorrow and make a new company, and it would probably have better word of mouth recognition and positive influence than sticking with Kickstarter, because Kickstarter is kind of a symbol of scams and unfulfilled promises. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. Halo Reach on PC will have no microtransactions and reworked progression. Good to hear that. I did not realize Halo Reach originally had microtransactions, so that would have been really irritating if I bought the Master Chief Collection and it turned out there was a bunch of microtransactions on there. There's a bunch of weirdness with the Master Chief Collection because it's this staggered PC release where Reach comes out, then Halo 1, and then Halo 2, then Halo 3, and so it's just going to slowly move things around. I believe canonically Reach happens before Halo 1, but chronologically the actual release dates, I believe Reach came after 3. So yeah, that that's weird. Just weird in a lot of different ways. TechRaptor has an article here. My time at Porsche console trip is coming April 16th. It launched on PC in January of this year, so apparently they've given it a different name, or maybe that's just the article title. So it's gonna come out to Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Nintendo Switch. Let's see. I'm still not sure my time at Porsche is really worth playing. TechRaptor gave it an 8 out of 10. It was kind of like Stardew Valley, and I didn't really like Stardew Valley, and I think that's why I just pretty much ignored it. Let's see. And again, I'm skipping some, but not really even that many. Not even that many games on Steam that we'll have left over for Friday. Let's see. Here's an article we don't need to talk about. And TechRaptor has an article here. Battle Royale game The Culling is shutting down in May. So, The Culling has been culled. I don't even know when The Culling came out. It had to have been at least a year ago. And then Culling 2 came out at some point, and that was unsatisfactory. I'm trying to remember this whole story. So, yeah. The Culling series of games, I think, are shut down, basically. Now, let's look at the Humble Bundle and see if there are any new bundles. It's a bunch of book bundles. Curve Digital is apparently the only game bundle, and that would I might go for this one. So that would be Serial Cleaner Stealth Inc. 2 Game of Chaos, The Little Acre for at least $1. If you pay over the average of $6.48 right now, you'll get Human Fall Flat, Smokin' Sacrifice, and Stink Bold. And see, they still have this icon for Steam for now. And if you pay $15 or more, you'll get Bomber Crew and For the King. Still very possibly not worth it. But if you wanted both of these games, $15 is a good deal. If you only wanted one of these games and you're just paying for $15 for that one game, that would not be a good deal. Good point to remind people that I am more than willing to take Steam codes through Twitter direct message if you buy a Humble Bundle, donate to charity, and then end up having game codes that you either don't want or are duplicates. Otherwise, we've done 2 long recordings. At some point, maybe I need to break it back down into 3 episodes per stream. And we are done. So, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos, because that helps me with YouTube, tells them that my videos are worth watching. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, all the links are down below. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.